Allez, bonjour tout le monde. Soyez le bienvenu dans cette classe. You can see I'm in the car and I just have to hold this class with you guys because it's very, very important we have this section. And so please, you will do well to connect with us and ensure that you are part of this section. So you're welcome. If you can hear me, please can you just send a message in the live section so that I can see you.
It's 8:34.
So if you can hear me, just now, if you can hear me, let me hear. All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I want to be sure you can hear me very well right now. Please, let me get feedback. Okay. So, you can see I have to stream this video live from the car because there is no time. I have quite a lot already to do today, but I just have to squeeze out the time. So let's dive into it. In our last live section, we dealt with nouns, and you've gone back to watch the video, and you know quite a lot already. Now, this morning, brièvement, on va aborder les compléments d'un nom. Now, nouns can be complemented. Maintenant, si on te pose une question, de quoi s'agit-il un complément? Ce sont des mots qu'on ajoute à un autre mot pour que le mot ou bien la phrase soit complète. Now, complement helps to complete nouns. They help to complete the nouns as well. And so we're looking at noun complements and how they operate. Now, after the noun complements, we're going to take time to go into what we call the verb. But that's not going to be this morning. We're going to have another time in the evening. Another 1 hour in the evening. I'm going to teach you that because I have barely 30 minutes for this class. So in 30 minutes, let's see how far we can run as far as les compléments du nom. You want to write it down. Les compléments du nom. Now, il y a 4 choses qu'on va aborder dans cette classe. Nous allons aborder d'abord les différents compléments d'un nom. Deuxièmement, on va aborder les différences entre les compléments du nom en anglais et en français. Et troisièmement, nous allons aborder les compléments d'un nom précédé de la proposition A. Et finalement, les compléments du nom infinitif comme complément du nom. Donc, 4 choses. Number 1, we're going to look at noun complements in general. Number 2, we're going to look at the difference between English noun complement and then the French noun complements, the difference. Number 3, we're going to be looking at what we call the complement of nouns that are preceded by a preposition, especially a. And then number 4, we're going to look at the infinitive as a complement of a noun, the infinitive of a verb as a noun complement. Now, I watched your video presentation of your literature oral. I have the compilation of them. I started sending them to you also, but in a private video so you can see it. Now, I was able to observe a lot of things, and I find that you made a lot of mistakes as well as these noun complements and concern, the way you use these noun complements. And so let's delve into it right away. Number 1, les différents compléments d'un nom. Write that somebody. Les différents compléments du nom. Les différents compléments du nom. Like I said, les compléments sont des mots qu'on ajoute à un autre mot, peut-être des phrases, pour que la phrase ou le mot soit complète au niveau du sens. Now, complements help nouns to make complete sense. Also, they help the nouns to make more meaning when they are used. The very first example, write this down. Un livre relié. Un livre relié. Un livre relié. Relié is spelled R-O-E-L-I-E as aigu. Un livre relié. You want to write that down. Number 2 is la fête colon célèbre. La fête colon célèbre. La fête colon célèbre. The third example I want to give you is le cahier de l'élève. Le cahier de l'élève. The fourth example, write l'homme à l'imperméable grill. L'homme à l'imperméable grill. L'homme à l'imperméable grill. Imperméable is I-M-P-E-R-M-E accent aigu A-B-L-E. Imperméable grill. That's an umbrella if you want to translate it to English. Now, these are 4 different examples, and I'm going to use them in the course of our interaction in a few minutes to tell you about how noun complement works. It's not enough to know them. You must know how they work. The very first one, I call it les différents compléments de nom. Généralement, en français, on a des formes différentes de noms au niveau de complément. Now, un nom peut être complémenté ou bien précisé ou bien complété par un adjectif, un pronom, proposition relative, avoir un autre nom, des fois les infinitifs. Now, in these 4 examples I give you, you are going to find that one of them is an adjective. That's the last one. L'homme à l'imperméable gris. Gris is the adjective of color. That's an adjective. You are going to find the other one is a noun. Le cahier de l'élève. Élève there is a noun, but it's acting as a complement of that noun, le cahier. You are going to find that the other one is a relative proposition. What is proposition relative? That is la fête colon célèbre. That word colon célèbre is a relative. We call it is a relative proposition relative in French. The fourth one is un livre relié. That un livre relié there is from a verb, but that's the participe passé of a verb. Now, how do we identify complements of nouns? Number 1. Number 2, what are the different complements of nouns in French? Now, let's go with the first one. Un livre relié. Write that sentence there. Un livre relié. Second sentence is le ciel bleu. Le ciel bleu. The third sentence is une journée ensoleillée. I take them again. Number 1, un livre relié. Number 2, le ciel bleu. Number 3, une journée ensoleillée. Now, these 3 different sentences things I give you, they are the noun in the first one is un livre. The second noun is le ciel. The third one is une journée. All of them are nouns. However, look at what the complements that follow them. For un livre relié, you have an adjective, a verb in the participe passé from the verb relié. A verb in the participe passé serving as an adjective. And the second one, le ciel bleu, that is the blue sky. If I just say le ciel, it could be anything. It doesn't make a complete sense. When I say le ciel bleu, that blue there is an adjective of color, and that adjective of color, le ciel bleu, completes that particular and makes it make more sense. So bleu there is an adjective. The third one is une journée ensoleillée. Une journée ensoleillée. That is a sunny day. Now, ensoleillé there is sunny from the verb from the solaire, ensoleillé. And then you see that all of them there, they are acting as adjective, whether the participle of the verb or the adjective of color blue, and they complement the noun. So the very first thing is that a noun can be complemented by an adjective. If you got what I just said, can you type it in the comment section? A noun can be complemented by an adjective. Anybody to type that for us? A noun can be complemented by an adjective. I'm waiting for you to do that. I'll go to the second one. Apart from the adjective that complements a noun, nouns are also complemented by what we call proposition relative. In the second example I gave us when we began the class, I told you la fête colon célèbre. And for that colon célèbre, la fête colon célèbre there is what we call proposition relative. We're going to go deep into it very soon. Let me give you other example. All right, a noun can be complemented by an adjective. Thank you very much, Okpotsu. Thank you very much, Shigozie. You are following. Okay? Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much, Kehinde. Un nom peut être complètement, no, complété par un adjective. That should be it. You want to write it in French. All right? A noun can be complemented by an adjective. Voilà. Now, the second one is what we call pronoun. It's called proposition relative. Now, proposition relative proposition that introduced by what we call the proposition relative co. You have co, you have qui. These are relative preposition. Now, let's look at some example. Le cahier, okay, let's say, okay, la plat qui a été préparé. Now, some of you presented on food in your drama with Madame Ojebu. That's so commendable. I really enjoyed those videos, and I'm still watching them and smiling and saying that's great. But however, look at this sentence. Le plat qui a été préparé. Le plat there is a noun. Now, I want to put a complement there. Now, the complement I'm going to be putting there is not an adjective noun. I mean, I'll call relative proposition. I say, le plat. Quel plat qui a été préparé? That is the dish that was prepared. Let's say it was a Christmas or a New Year, or any celebration, Tabaski, whatever it is. Le plat qui a été préparé. That qui a été préparé is a relative proposition, and it's serving there as the complement of the noun. Can somebody type for us that noun can also be complemented by proposition relative? All right, thank you very much. Sunny, I've already done that. So we have it number one for an adjective, number two for relative proposition. The third thing that can complement a noun, makes a noun more robust, makes a noun more meaningful, because that's what complement does, is another noun. Beyond an adjective, beyond a relative proposition, one other thing that can complement a noun is what we call a noun. So a noun can also complement another noun in a sentence. Let me see if I can bring the light. It makes no difference. Okay, so a noun can be complemented number one by an adjective, number two by what we call proposition relative. An example is le plat qui a été préparé. Another example, l'étudiant qui est venu. The students that came. La classe qui vient de terminer. That expression qui vient de terminer is a relative proposition, and it's complementing the class. Which class? The class that just ended. Now we're having a class, and the class is going to end by 9 o'clock latest, or past 9, whatever the time I decide to wrap it up as soon as with my short time. If I say la classe qui va se terminer, that qui va se terminer there is what we call proposition relative. All right, that's the second thing that complements a noun. The third one is another noun. A noun can also complement a noun, but that noun must be preceded by what we call a proposition. We call it de. Now let's have an example. Le cahier de l'élève, rather. Le cahier de l'élève. I gave you that initially. When you say le cahier de l'élève, that do there is not using a relative proposition. You just use another noun. Le cahier de l'élève. Do plus élève. That second noun, élève, preceded by do, is complementing that cahier, the first noun. And so the third one is that a noun can also be complemented by another noun. Number one, by an adjective. Deuxièmement, avec une proposition relative. Troisièmement, avec un autre nom. Les trois pour servir comme des compléments d'un nom. Number 4, we call it l'infinitive du verbe. Now, l'infinitive du verbe. The infinitive of a verb can also complement another noun. And that's the very first sentence I gave you towards the end rather. Let's look at this sentence now. Une machine à coudre. Alright. Une machine à coudre. Now, for you to use that infinitive of the verb as a noun complement, it must be preceded by the preposition a. Whereas for the noun as a complement is with do. That's what precedes that. So let's say we have une veste en cuir. Une veste en cuir. Une veste en cuir. Cuir is C-U-I-R-O. Une veste. You can spell that already. Une veste en cuir. The next one is un homme en short. Un homme en short. So either with the preposition a or with on, they precede the infinitive that is used as a complement of a noun. So the infinitive is preceded by either a or on to complement the noun. That is the very first thing you must note about the complements of noun. Number 1, it can be complemented by an adjective. Number 2, by proposition relative. Number 3, by another noun, un autre nom, précédé par la proposition de, et puis par le verbe à l'infinitive, précédé par la proposition a ou bien on. And we have seen the examples thus far. The next thing we want to look at now you want to pay attention. This is where you made most of the mistakes during your presentation. And please take them very seriously. Now, il y en a des différences entre la manière de s'exprimer en français et de s'exprimer en anglais. We express differently in English and in French. Ce sont des langues différentes. Oui, il y a toujours des liens entre les deux. On a toujours la manière de dire qui se rassemble. Mais généralement, dans la manière de dire, in the way of speaking, il y a toujours des différences entre les deux langues. There's a difference between the two languages. Maintenant, prenez par exemple, ces exemples. Les animaux du zoo. Des animaux du zoo. Number 2. Let's say we have les gens d'un O. D'un, D'-E-N, then O, H-A-U-T. If you have followed our video on adverb, you know that that's an adverb, what we're talking about right now. Then you have encore ceux qui sont à l'intérieur. Ceux qui sont à l'intérieur. Ceux qui sont à l'intérieur. Now for ceux qui sont à l'intérieur, les gens d'un O, les animaux du zoo, that is, for the first one, the animals in the zoo. Second one, the people upstairs. The third one is those inside. There is a contrast. Il y en a des contrastes, il y en a des différences entre la manière de dire ça en français et en anglais. And that leads us to what we call preposition de lieu. Now, in English generally, a noun, and in French, also a noun, they can be complemented by an adjective preceded by a proposition preceded by of place rather. Now let me use the first example, the animals in the zoo. Now if I tell you to translate the animals in the zoo on a normal day, and you go with your normal English translation, your English knowledge, like most of you did in that your presentation, which is quite commendable. I love the presentation once again. Kudos again. You are going to find that some people are going to say les animaux dans le zoo. Les animaux dans le zoo. But you cannot say les animaux dans le zoo in French. No. You say les animaux du zoo. Why do we say so? Now, the word in is done in English. Now, that's the proposition of place, in. However, when you come to French, you do not say les animaux dans le zoo, but say les animaux du zoo. That is the way it is expressed in French. Now look at another example. The room on the second floor is empty. If I say translate that to French, you are going to say la chambre dans le deuxième étage est vide. La chambre au deuxième étage est vide. Some of you are going to say that on a normal day. However, that is not actually correct. That's not how to say it in French. So you want to avoid all those kind of mistakes. Now let's break it down to in a simpler way. Now when you have preposition of places, the preposition de lieu in French, in English, I want to take that sentence to French. How do you go about it? The very first thing is that you use what we call proposition relative. Now I was saying les animaux dans le zoo. Les animaux dans le zoo, some malades, let's say the animals in the zoo are sick. So I'm saying that you can simply say les animaux qui viennent dans le zoo sont malades. Now when you say qui viennent, you have to call proposition relative. And by so doing, you have translated it perfectly in French. Now let's take another example. We say the room on the second floor is empty. The room on the second floor is empty. How do I put that in French? Now you can also use what we call you relative, proposition relative here. I will say la pièce qui se trouve au deuxième étage est vide. Now if I say qui se trouve, I'm using what we call proposition relative in the place of on. That's your proposition of place in English. I'm using proposition relative to replace that in French to translate it properly. So it's going to be la pièce qui se trouve au deuxième étage est vide. Now, apart from going through proposition relative, you can also navigate your way to replace what we call the proposition de lieu in English with what we call participe passé of a verb that serves as an adjective. We have seen an example of that when I gave you the different ways of complement. Number one, look at the example. Les animaux dans le zoo sont malades. I don't want to say les animaux qui vivent dans le zoo sont malades. Or les animaux qui se trouvent dans le zoo sont malades. I will simply say les animaux enfermés dans le zoo sont malades. That word enfermé, E-N, F-E-R-O-M-E accent aigu, I add my S because of accord. That is the participe passé of the verb enfermé. So I want to avoid using proposition relative. I will use what we call the participe passé of the verb. Take the same example of that. The room on the second floor is empty. For relative, we said la pièce qui se trouve au deuxième étage. However, when I come to using participe passé of a verb as an adjective, to replace that, I'm going to say la pièce située. That verb situé there is now serving as an adjective. La pièce située au deuxième étage est vide. Number 3. Let's say les animaux du zoo sont malades. I want to replace it with another noun instead of using proposition relative or using the verb at the level of participe passé. I can use another noun. I will say les animaux du zoo sont malades. Or I will simply say la pièce du deuxième étage est vide. So these are the intricacies. These are the nuances. These are the things you need to avoid. So you want to write it down. Number one, difference between English and French. When you are translating what we call proposition de lieu, on, in, on. You can either call proposition relative, like les animaux qui vivent dans le zoo or la pièce qui se trouve au deuxième étage. Or you can simply use the participe passé of a verb in the form of an adjective to replace that proposition de lieu in English. That in, that upstairs, that inside, in the sentence I gave you. And then you can have something like la pièce située au deuxième étage. Or you say les animaux enfermés. That is the participe passé of the verb used as an adjective. Finally, you can use another noun with the preposition do as a complement to replace that, and you have a perfect sentence there. Now, apart from preposition de lieu, we have what we call les adverbes de lieu. Now, in English, let's look at this example. The people upstairs are my friends. All right. Upstairs are my friends. Now, if you say les gens en haut sont mes amis, that is your traduction littérale. That is word for word translation. Les gens en haut. And mind you, that's what machine translation will give you most of the time. Use your Google Translator, use your ChatGPT, whatever you are using. Most machine translation will give you this kind of translation, which are not 100% correct. That's where the human comes in. Now we have adverbs de lieu. Les adverbes de lieu généralement en français. On ne peut pas traduire ça directement en français. How do we go about it? We also use the same preposition relative, adverb from participe passé, or another noun. Now look at the example. The people upstairs. Now that word upstairs there is more of an adverb, upstairs. Now to translate that, I can use that same preposition relative, that participation of the verb, or use my noun. I want to have like les gens qui sont en haut. Les gens installés en haut. Les gens du haut. I can use it to replace that word upstairs, and then I'll have my translation better. Now the third one is what we call pronoun demonstrative. I'll give you the same example. Now, you know that pronoun demonstrative is so, sell. That's pronoun demonstrative. Let's say you have those inside are safe. For example, there is chaos outside the campus. I want to say those people inside the campus, they are safe. You say those inside are safe. Those inside are safe. Now, how do I say that in French? Number one, you must know that the same rule that applies to preposition de lieu, adverbe de lieu, also apply to pronoun démonstratif. I will simply just say ceux qui sont à l'intérieur. I will say ceux de l'intérieur. When I say that, I have made the sentence easily and then we flow. So that's the second thing we're looking at. I said we're looking at 4 different things. Number one is that nouns can be complemented by an adjective, by a preposition relative, by another noun, and also for the infinitive. Now I've now applied that in our translation, seeing the difference between English and French. That is, in English, when you have all your proposition de lieu, you use those 3 steps. Pronom relative, we have adjective qui vient de participer d'un adverbe or un autre noun to replace them. Then the next thing is for the adverb de lieu and pronoun demonstrative, that all these rules apply as well. Now the third thing we want to look at right now, because I want to try and wrap up the video in a few minutes, is the complement of noun preceded by preposition a. Complément du nom précédé de la proposition a. Now look at this example I gave you when we began this particular interaction. I said l'homme à l'imperméable gris. L'homme à l'imperméable gris. L'homme à l'imperméable gris. That is the man in the gray raincoat. Your impermeable is your raincoat. The man in the green raincoat. Now let's add another sentence to that and we analyze it briefly. Ces dames au chapeau vert. 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 The ladies with green hats. Now, when do we use it? Generally, we use it to indicate a physical or characteristics, or called vestimentaire. And then we use it to make description of peculiarities, generally. Now, in those sentences, we say l'homme à l'imperméable gris, a peculiar kind of raincoat, a gray raincoat. Ces dames au chapeau vert, that is the ladies with green hats. That is, au chapeau vert is a comment of this ces dames with green hats. So it's a peculiar thing. Now, let's look at the examples, 3 examples now. La maison aux tuiles rouges. La maison aux tuiles rouges. When you say la maison aux tuiles rouges, that is the house with red tiles. As you look at that, la maison aux tuiles rouges is used. Why? That tuile rouge is a complement of the noun la maison. However, for you to have that, remember I told you initially, you have the preposition do. However, we also have preposition are for this kind of construction, but these ones must come immediately after the noun they are complementing. Second example, and then we'll take it together again. L'homme au masque de fer, the man with the iron mask. L'homme au masque de fer, the man with the iron mask. Number 3 sentence is la femme au gant noir. La femme au gant noir. That is the woman with the black gloves. Now in these 3 sentences, number 1 is la maison de tuiles rouges, the house with red ties. Number 2 is l'homme au masque de fer, the man in the iron mask. Number 3 is la femme au gant noir, that is the woman with the black gloves. You are going to find out that it's about something physical, talk about something you can use. So, and then they indicate peculiarity in the description of the house, of the man, and the woman in question. Now we can complete this now using this complement by another noun, and then it must combine with a definite article. We see au tuile rouge, AUX, au tuile rouge, the A plus the definite article must complement. Or you have au masque de fer, OAU, A plus to give you O. So there must be this the use of the A plus article défini to give you that O, that article contracté, for you to have this kind of construction. Whereas in a normal day, without this article défini, you just have your do. Like le cahier de l'élève. We didn't say le cahier ou l'élève, no. But you were saying l'homme au masque de fer because talking about a physical quality and something that is one. So you want to take note of that. And please, this complement must follow immediately the noun they are complementing. That is what you must take note of. Now, what's the difference or the kind of construction with what you have in English? Now, I always want to give you the difference in English because you are Anglophone students studying French, and so you are coming from the English background. So let's look at it critically now. Now, in English generally, we complement nouns using the preposition with. With. I am with a friend. Amaka is with Grace. Sunny is with responsable adjoint. That is English. It's correct. However, you cannot say with like that in English. Now look at this example. The woman with the red dress came from a foreign country. The woman with the red dress. I'm describing a woman. She's wearing a red dress. And I'm trying to say that woman is a foreigner in that gathering. She came from another country. The woman with the red dress is from another country. How am I going to put that in French? Number 1, I cannot say la femme avec la robe ou bien la chemise rouge vient d'un pays étranger. I won't say avec. No, it's not done in French. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use what we call that proposition relative. I will say la femme qui portait une robe rouge venait d'un pays étranger. I'm not going to say la femme avec une robe rouge venait d'un pays étranger. I'm going to say la femme qui portait la robe rouge venait d'un pays étranger. The woman with the red dress. So that with now is now replaced with proposition relative. Qui portait. I've replaced it with this. Qui portait. So that's what you have there. And so please, I can also say, if I don't want this proposition relative, I can use my normal noun. I'll use my a plus the definite article. I will say la femme à la robe rouge venait d'un pays étranger. So you want to take note of that. It's very key and it's very, very important. Now, the final thing I want to discuss with you this morning is l'infinitif complément d'un noun. But before then, I want to leave the floor open in few minutes. You have a question thus far, please can you drop it in the comment section? Let me answer them right away. Because the moment I'm done with this last section, we'll be done with the class this morning, and then I will just send you the link. You can go and watch this video. We're going to have another time in the evening. Please, before evening, Stanley, get back to me. Let me say before 5, 6, we can have a time, 1 hour or so, and then I have to teach you a lot of things. On Monday, I'm not sure I'm going to be in the department. I could be there, might not be there. But if I'm there, we'll have a time physically. If not, we'll also have a class online. Let's wrap up everything, and then we'll start doing your revision for your exam. So, your question, I'm waiting for them now. Drop it at the comment section. Let me see your questions. We have 2 minutes to do that. Then I will take 5 more minutes, and we are done with the class. The person I'm waiting for is still delaying, so we have some extra time for the class before I move ahead to what I have today. All right, please, any question? I'm waiting for your questions in the comment section. Please drop them. It's important. And please, when we are having a class online, be dropping your questions at the comment section. Things you don't understand, so that I'll be replying as I'm teaching, so that we don't take this kind of pause in the process of interaction. I want it to just flow continuously. Okay, I'm waiting. All right, there's no question yet until I see the questions. Let's go to the last thing. L'infinitif d'un verbe comme complément d'un noun. I think there are 4 things. 4 things that can serve as a noun complement. Number 1 is an adjective. Number 2 is called proposition relative. Number 3 is another noun. And number 4 is the infinitive of a verb. The infinitive of a verb. Now, look at this sentence. Write it down, everybody. Il y a des chambres à louer. Number 2, write cours à domicile. Private tutor, private lesson. Cours à domicile. Number 3, write voici un film à voir. Voici un film à voir. Now, those 3 sentences I gave you now. Number 1 is il y a des chambres à louer. Number 2, we have voici, we have cours à domicile. Number 3, we have voici un film à voir. Now, what you have there is that the infinitive is serving as a noun complement. Il y a des chambres à louer. À louer there, say that it's room to rent. More information about the room is complementing that information on the room. À louer. Voici un film à voir. À voir means that there is a film to watch. It's complementing it. Number 3, you have there is cours à domicile. À domicile is complementing that particular noun, cours, in that phrase. Now, the condition, when do you use this? How do you use this? Now, this noun, in French, generally, un nom généralement peut être complété par un infinitif précédé de la proposition A. In all these examples I gave you, juste la proposition A. On a la proposition A avant l'infinitif. Cours à domicile. Voici un film à voir. Avant le voir, il y a la proposition A. So that is how you use it. Look at another example. We have une machine à laver. That's a washing machine. Une machine à laver. A washing machine. Now, the only time you don't use the A as a complement is what we have called expression figée. Let's say, for example, a proverb. You know what proverbs are already? You did quite a lot with Madame Ojebu on proverbs. Now, you will understand that when you say une histoire a dormi debout. Now, that une histoire a dormi debout is a fixed expression. And mind you, after the infinitive of the verb, nothing comes after the verb. But when you say une histoire a dormi debout, debout is coming after the verb in that fixed expression because it does not follow that rule. However, when you use the infinitive as a complement, that's the last thing there that comes there. Une chambre à louer, And then you have voici and film, avoir. And so, as I wrap it up now, let me recapitulate. Complements give us more information. They help the noun to make a complete sense. They help a noun or a sentence to make complete sense. We have complement of sentences, complement of a noun, of a word. Now, in French, there are 4 ways you can use complements. There are 4 types of complements to a noun. Premièrement, nous avons les compléments avec les adjectifs. Adjective of color, it can be adjective from participle passé of a verb. For example, un livre relié. The second example is une robe bleu. Bleu there is a complement, adjective of color. There is an adjective from participle passé of a verb. And so take note of them, they are important. Number 2 complement is proposition relative. Cette classe qui vient de terminer. I said qui vient de terminer. That qui vient de terminer there is proposition relative. It's complementing the class. That's number 2. Number 3, another noun can complement a noun. Le cahier de l'élève. Le cahier de l'élève. And I can also say la maison aux tuiles rouges. La maison aux tuiles rouges. These are complements to the noun. The 4th one is the infinitive of a verb serving as a complement. Une chambre à louer. Un film à voir. So these are the basic 4 types of complements you have for a noun in French. I'll look at the intricacies. We're seeing that the usage, and I said for with that you have in English, you translate it to French using proposition relative or using the infinitive of a verb as, the participle of a verb as an adjective, or use your noun complement. We did the same thing for other propositions de lieu, and then we have looked at all of them this morning. So please, as we wrap up the video now, go over it again in your spare time. Ensure that you go through it, because in the afternoon, Sunny will communicate the time to me, and I will send it to the class. I'm going to have 1 more hour today. You are owing me 4 hours of lecture, so I'm going to take 2 today. And then tomorrow, maybe I will take 1. I don't know. But we'll have to finish up everything. So by Sunny, get back to me. Let's have a time within 4, 5, 6. We must have a time to have the class. And then 1 hour, we are done. So on this note, I want to thank you. I want to appreciate you for coming to the class. I'm delighted to have you here. And I appreciate your data and your time. So please, you have your notes already. Read them up. On Monday, I might not be around in the morning. But know that on Monday, I'm going to take my test. I'm going to try and be around. If I'm not around in the morning, I'll be around in the afternoon. But I want us to be done with everything. So tell those who are not in class now that in the afternoon we are meeting. And everything we have done, all the videos we have watched, all the live session we had, I'm going to set the test question from everything. It's going to be like an exam before an exam. So I'm wishing you the best. Come on Monday. We're going to be meeting in the afternoon. So Sunny, get back to me. Let's call it a day. Have a wonderful time, a wonderful weekend. I'll see you in class in the evening. God bless you. Bye for now. Au revoir.